Now we're going to look at using breakpoints to control where execution starts or stops in our code. So we are going to start up DDD. Okay, now we have the DDD window open, and of course I get started by pressing the run button. Now this is obviously a very small piece of code for illustration purposes, but in general you may be debugging a large amount of code, and in particular you may know exactly where you want to get to start the process of single stepping, looking at values, etc. And it could take a long time to do that with the step button. You could speed things a little bit up with next and skip over functions, but there's a convenient way to be able to stop at an arbitrary point in your code. So I click over here and maybe I'd like to debug this function, and I can click my cursor there and then go up here and click on the little stop sign, and this creates what's called a breakpoint. And every time execution reaches a line of code that has a breakpoint, it automatically stops for you, and then it's up to you to decide, do I want to continue execution from here, or would I like to use some of my controls and single step through individual lines of code, etc. So right now I'm still at here with the little green arrow here, but if I press the continue button, instead of going all the way through my code, you see that execution stops right here. And that's because I've set that breakpoint. And at this point, I can use my regular controls to step through various things, make a decision, and then maybe go ahead and click finish to go to the end of this function, step through, etc. And notice that even if I restart my code, my breakpoint is still maintained. So this is useful if you have to go through several iterations of debugging. I just hit continue again here, and every time it reaches a line of code with a breakpoint, it automatically stops there for me. Now, you may find that at some point this breakpoint is no longer useful and actually becomes a burden that I don't actually want to stop here anymore. So what I can do then is put my cursor on this line of code, and now this button has become the clear or delete the breakpoint. And now I can get rid of that. Maybe I've debugged this piece of code here, or I've determined that this isn't a problematic area and I don't want to stop here anymore. Now the behavior is normal. I can step, but if I continue execution, it goes all the way through my code because the breakpoint is no longer there.